I have collected since I was 12 years old. That takes me back to 72 years of collecting. I started with coin collecting, and I have an interesting story about that. I got very interested in the old 1794 silver dollar because they only made 1,750 of them. And I was told that somebody in Salt Lake City would sell it to me on time. I got a hold of him, and I bought it for $3,000. That coin today is worth $200,000 in the condition. Now, I also collected sports memorabilia, pocket watches, and my favorite are my cameras and projectors. An ad for the sale of this 1908 Pathé that's on the video. The first one I came across was a company in Florida refurbished one of these, repainted it, made it look beautiful, except you don't want to do that with antiques. And they had that up for sale for almost $30,000. But a couple of days later, his competitor came up with the same $249,900. Now, in my history of collecting, when something comes up with a lot of publicity, and by the way, mine is in better condition than the $250,000. So I'm valuating this particular camera at $300,000. And here's my prediction. Just like the 1794 silver dollar, where they made 1,700 of them, they now say there's only 150 left. I have the same feeling about this 1908 Pathé. Highly serviceable in the first silent motion pictures up until 1912, when the United States came up with a Mitchell. Again, this is French. So from the period of 1908 to 1912, this particular model was used almost exclusively by the motion picture industry. Even Hollywood used one of these to do Birth of a Nation. I bought this one from someone in Toronto, Canada, and they said they bought this in Paris, France. So he kept it in a box for many, many years, and it hadn't been exposed. So when I got it, I kept it in this immaculate, I call it immaculate condition. I bought 12 cameras from this gentleman in Toronto, Canada. He sent me pictures of it, but he never, ever had it up for sale. Another interesting fact, collectibles go from one price to another, is a Honus Wagner 1909 baseball card. They only made 10 of them because Honus Wagner cut them from printing anymore. He didn't want his face on a tobacco card. So the one that was kept in pristine condition sold for $6.6 million just a month ago. Why do collectibles jump in price? There are not that many collectors of hand-crank movie cameras and projectors. For the entertainment world, these are great collectibles. And Steven Spielberg is a big time collector of these early. And when Hugh Hefner passed on, he had a huge collection. He donated to USC. Most of the valuable cameras and projectors are in museums. They're just not to be found. And I looked for another 1908 French Pathé for several years, never saw one come up for sale. And this beautiful camera could be a centerpiece in their theater. And there are several entertainers that are worth $1 billion today. Movie memorabilia, as I mentioned, has a big following. For example, Marilyn Monroe's dress in The 7-Year Itch. Anyways, that famous dress went for $7.5 million at auction. So I bring that up because my prediction is this wonderful condition 1908. Like I said, it was a workhorse in the early motion picture industry. But I have a feeling there may only be 4 or 5 of these Pathés in private hands. Most of these in this kind of condition would be in a museum, and they're not going to sell it to you. Whatever you buy, make sure it's in the best possible condition you can get it. Something that has an opportunity to go up in value, always remember, get the rarest you can and in the best of shape. Anyways, I want to thank you very much for paying attention, and questions, you can get me on my email.